What's up YouTube? I'm back in the still standing garage, and in this video I'm gonna install all the weather seals on the Monte here. I have all of them laid out. I did get this whole kit from OPGI. I did get the door seals. Both of them are in here. I have my track here for the passenger side. This is where the roof rail weather seal goes. I have to clean that up. I did get a pack of the rubber stoppers. I'm only going to use the rubber stoppers on the doors here, and then later on I'm going to install the rest of it on the car when I get to that point. I do have the hood to cow seal here, the roof rail seal, and then the trunk lid seal here. I do have a rivet gun here with the rivets ready to go because I am going to replace the blowout piece right here. This one right here is pretty busted on both sides, so this one's going to be brand new. I'm going to rivet that in there, clean it up, make it look real nice. I do have to clean up the track here because, let me see if I can show you, in some areas it has some of the old rubber in there still. So you can see that right there in that corner, how it looks kind of busted there. I have to clean all that up, get that nice and ready. I do have 3/4 foam that is going to go on this back side right here. This is the side that goes onto the body of the car. I have 3/4 foam here. I am going to put a link in the description for this. I got this off of Amazon. And then I also have the weather seal paste here, or the adhesive, that I'm going to use. I've been having this for a very long time. I've been having this kit for a very long time, actually, for like 2-3 years maybe. So it's time to put this on. Let's get this moving. Let's go. So I'm going to start with the roof rail. I'm going to start cleaning it up with the spatula and a screwdriver, just removing all the old rubber and the foam. I'm using an 11/64 drill bit to drill out the old rivet. Here I'm scraping off all the old foam on the back side of the track with the spatula. Gotta make sure this is clean before I install the new foam. And here I'm hitting it with the hammer and dolly to make sure that the track is nice and straight, because it does have lumps where the screws go. Want to remove those, make sure those are nice and straight before I install the blowout tab and the foam that goes on the back side of the track. Now that the track is cleaned up and ready to go, let's go ahead and install the new blowout tab. The rivets that I'm using are 1/8 rivets. These are the only ones that I could find. They're white. I mean, you're not going to be able to see the head of the rivet because the rubber's going to go over it. Here's the back side of where the rivets went through. I went ahead and I hit them with some snips to make sure that it wasn't sticking out too much. It was sticking up a little bit longer than that. And the foam tape that goes over here is going to cover this area here. So we should be all right. I didn't want to take off too much because then the blowout tab will come out. So now it's time to put on the foam tape. I'm going to clean this up with some Simple Green, and then we'll throw on that foam tape. Let's go. Here I'm cleaning the area where the track's going to be mounted on. Want to make sure that everything's nice and clean there. No old rubber or that foam. None of that sticking on there. Make sure that that's nice and clean. I'm also replacing all the screws that go in this area. I'm replacing them with these number 8 by 1/2 inch long zinc plated screws. These came from Lowe's. After scraping everything off, I went ahead and I used some Simple Green on a rag and cleaned up the whole area. Let's go ahead and put this on. Alright, let's install the seal now. I have the roof rail seal here. I'm gonna start from that side or the back side over here. The seal here, it has 2 holes right here, as you can see, one here and one there. And the kit comes with these pins here. You can either use these pins or the screws that I showed you earlier. I'm gonna try to use these pins here because they're gonna look a lot nicer. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Here's the adhesive that I'll be using. It's from 3M. It's called Black Super Weather Strip and Gasket Adhesive. Been having this in my toolbox for about 3 years, so I'm hoping that it still works. I've never opened it, so hopefully it's still good. I am putting a link in the description for you guys to get some if you guys need some. The way that the instructions read is you apply a thin coat on either surfaces, or on both surfaces I should say. So I'm gonna apply a thin coat here and a thin coat on here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and wait for it to get a little tacky, and then I'll put them on. Alright, it's been a few minutes and it looks like it's nice and tacky already, so let's start putting in these pins. Start at the bottom over here. That one went in there nice. Let's put this other one over here. In there pretty nice. What I am gonna do right now is I'm just gonna set it in place because I do want to move to the front and glue it in the front with the pins and everything first, and then I'll come back and I'm gonna put some of the adhesive on this too. So for now I'm just gonna set it in there. If I could actually get it in. The tool that I'm using to put that in there, it's this plastic tool. You don't want to use any screwdrivers or anything like that because then you'll start damaging the rubber. We don't want to do that. So let's move on to the front over here. We'll put those pins in, glue that part of it in, and then we'll come back and start gluing the rest of the track. Let's do the same thing in the front over here. You have one hole here, and then you have the other one back here. So I am going to put glue all in this area right here, and then we'll do the same thing with the rubber piece. So we can make sure we have nice coverage. I pre-installed the pins in there. As you can see, both of them are in there, just so I can make it easier because I can't really see where the holes are right there. I'll put some over here on this area. Smear that, and then we'll wait for it to get tacky, and then we'll push them in. I'm gonna do the bottom one first. There, that one went in, and that one's in there. They're both in there. I'll do the same thing on this side and just kind of place it there. Then we'll go back to the rear and start installing that over there with some glue. All right, now that it's tacked up, the way that I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna install this side first. I'm gonna hook it inside, and then the back side I'm gonna roll it in, and I'm gonna use my plastic tool to roll it in there on the back side, on this side. So we'll do the front first over here. Make sure it goes inside that opening. And then we'll push it in the back. I'm gonna add some more glue right there, and then right here to make sure that that bonds really good, because that corner is always a problem. I'll let that set for a few minutes and then we'll push it in. And then do the same thing to the rest. Make sure that everything went in there properly. Double check everything. Make sure everything's all in the channel how it's supposed to be and it's hooked in there properly. Look at that blowout tab right there. It's nice and clean. Check that out. If you guys don't know what these blowout tabs are for, these are for when you're driving on the highway or the freeway, you're driving real fast and your window is up. It prevents the window from blowing out, which is the name blowout tab. So that's ready to go. I'm gonna start working on the door over here. The door seals over here have a whole bunch of these little pins or tabs that are gonna go all the way around the door. You see all those holes right there? It's gonna go all the way around. It helps keep them in there. I am gonna put some sealer or some adhesive, I should say. I'm still thinking about painting. I'm gonna put some adhesive in between the pins all the way down, and then the same thing we did with the roof rail seal. We're gonna put adhesive all the way in the area where the pins go in at the very top, both sides, top over here and then the top over there. So let me get to it. Let's start putting that on. The door seal is completely installed. The only areas I added some of that adhesive was right here in this area here, and then on the sides. The bottom didn't take any adhesive at all. I didn't see any lines from stock installation. I did add some sealant or some adhesive here. There's some there. I am going to close the door right now to make sure everything stays glued on properly. I did put glue all in this area here, and like I said, nothing at the bottom. On the pins up here, the one in the back went in there real nice, didn't have any issues. This one kept bending, so I ended up using one of the screws. They come stock with screws inside of the seals from what I've seen. So I put one in there. It's cool. It's holding it on there. Now, another thing that I'm going to do to make sure that everything is molded properly, because right now if I close the door doesn't close right. It stays out because these seals are brand new. So it's 63 degrees right now. It's too cold. It's not going to mold how it's supposed to. Jay Lolos on Instagram hit me up and told me that I should hit the whole seal with the heat gun, hit it all the way around, get it nice and warm, and then close the door and leave it overnight, and it should be molded properly. That's a real cool tip. I really appreciate him letting me know that, because I was thinking of just letting it close and letting it sit for a while, and then when it gets hot, put it out in the sun. So, I mean, thinking outside the box, right? So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to hit it with the heat gun and keep it moving. The door was a little hard to close anyways, even though I hit it with the heat gun. So we'll see how it turns out tomorrow. I'll open it up and check it out. If not, I just have to leave it outside in the sun for a while and see how it molds together and just give it some time. I do need to add the bump stops on that, which I didn't do. I wanted to do it before I close the door, but it is what it is. I'll show you that later on in the video. I'm going to go ahead and start working on the seal for the trunk. I do have to clean up this whole area because I do have a lot of the residue from when I was cutting and buffing all on this lip right here. So I have to clean it up all the way around. As for the installation, I have to start right here in the center, go all the way around, and then it meets back up right here. There's a connector that comes with the kit. I have to put adhesive there and then connect the two, and we're good to go. As for how that seal molds to the trunk lid, to make sure that everything is on there properly, because the trunk lid right now is all aligned to the quarter panels and the back over here. There's no weird gaps or anything like that, so it's on point. The thing is, I don't have the latch installed, which is what's needed to make sure that everything is locked into place. So I have it here. I did paint it. It's just real dusty, but yeah, that's ready to go. So we'll see what I got to do with that, because just how you saw, I had to slam the door a couple of times to make sure that everything locked into place. I don't know if I need to do that to here. And if I do, I mean, I'm not worried about installing the latch right now, so it's okay if the trunk lid stays a little raised and it doesn't look right. I mean, I'm not driving it right now, so it's all good. Here's the seal. Here are the instructions that come with it. The way that I understand it is, this is the bottom part right here. This is what connects to the car. The flap, the side that has a flap right here, is the side that goes to the outside of the car. And then here's the connector I was telling you about. So got to put adhesive to this, and then this connector goes into that hole, and then it goes to the other end when it meets back up right there, and we're ready to go. So let's start doing that. The install was real quick. It only took about 7 minutes. I did have to use some sheet metal snips to cut this area right here. The important part when you're cutting this is to make sure that the cut is nice and straight, and cut it a little bit longer, so that way you have to push it back, and then once it goes in, it looks nice and sealed there. You can see all the adhesive that came out. I just wiped it off, and if the adhesive gets on your fingers, it's real easy to come off once it dries up. And then I also did close the lid. It did stay a little raised. It's not bad at all, so I'm okay with it until I install the latch over there. So we should be good. Now it's time for the CowtoHood seal here. Got to put this on. Pretty much the same thing. Clean up the ridge right here. Clean it up with some simple green all the way around. And it stops right there. You can see that tab right there. That's where it stops. So I just got to clean that up real quick, and then we'll put it on. All right, YouTube, it's the next day. I do want to mention that I did have to hit the seal there with the heat gun to make sure it molded right, because it was pretty stiff, and I was making sure that once I closed the hood, it was sitting up like this and instead of like that. That's pretty much how my Regal is. So it did sit properly. I'll open it up right now and see how that looks. Now let's try out the door over here and see how it works out. See if it molded, if it needs to be heated up some more. So let's see. I mean, I did kind of slam it there. Let me see. Kind of like a gentle push. Ah, it's really good. It's not bad at all, actually. Like if somebody gets out and just pushes it. Yeah, worked out. So heating it up with the heat gun was a perfect way to do that when it's cold. So we don't have to wait for the summertime. So it's ready to go. All right, it's time to put these bump stops on the door. I'll show you where these go, and I'll give you a tip on how to install them. It makes it real easy to install. And those bump stops go right here, one right here, and then the other one right there. And it's pretty much so when you slam the door, or whoever slams the door, it actually stops it from hitting on metal, depending on how hard they slam it, right? And to install these, the easiest way that I found to install this is with a drill bit that fits in this hole. And then you push it in, because if you try to push it in just like that without something rigid, it's very difficult to get them in there. So I have a rag to push it on there so I don't stab my hand. So we'll put the top one in first. See how that one went in. Take it out, put it on the bottom one, and do the same thing. And there it is. It's on there, ready to go. And there it is. That's what it looks like. It looks really good to me. Everything's sealed up properly. It's not standing up as much as it was before. Nice and flat how it was like that before. Now it's a little more open, so that's gonna be good. I do want to clean up this whole area still. Still looks kind of funky there. And there it is. I still have to do the driver's side, but everything else is ready to go. This is gonna be the first G-body that I own that doesn't leak. All the G-bodies that I've owned have always leaked from right here, from this area. They always rip here. They're always leaking, or this whole thing is pretty much all gone. On the Regal over there, I have the same issue. That used to be my daily driver, and it always leaked all over the place. I always drove around with the shoulder full of water and lap full of water, but it is what it is. On the 82 that I had an 82 Monte as well. It always leaked right there, and in the top too. It was always busted. So this is gonna be the first G-body that I own that has all the seals nice and new and pretty much sealed up. So let's keep it moving. Thank you for watching. G-body still standing. Let's go.